Our next student presenter is Mariana Maturin. She's our manager of videography. What do you think is the biggest difference, or what are some of the things a comm arts video major need to be thinking about or getting ready to experience when they come out of academia and they go into the business world?
I think one of the biggest differences is that you're really, like, your team is relying on you, and that all the work that you do affects everybody else that you're working with. It's not just like you turn in your assignment and then you get your grade that reflects you. Like, you turn in your stuff and it affects everybody else's job, and your team is really relying on you to do a good job.
Once you get to the, you're doing corporate video, or in this case you were doing public affairs video, you get one chance, that's it. I mean, there's no going back. There's no going to the client and telling them, oh, hey, I screwed up. A few months ago, you told me that you were surprised that when you actually go out on shoots, how different they are. It's not like a classroom project. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so when you go on a shoot, you're kind of just dealing with it as it comes. The pre-planning is a big part of it, but when there's no really chance to like reshoot. You can't like go out and do it again. That's the moment that you get all your shots, that you get all your audio, and you don't want to call up the client and be like, hey, actually we need to come back and do this. So like going on the set at that moment is like way different, because in class, like, you might be able to like look at your video and be like, oh yeah, I need to redo this, and I'll just do it like tonight.
And that's where just experience on the job, I think is really important to get. Tell me about side hustles and how important you think that is for a comm arts major.
Side hustles, like as in working on projects like outside of class?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to try like different roles that you might have on a set in a side hustle. It is good to be like, oh yeah, I'm really good at doing like cinematography, but also if you just present yourself as I only know how to do camera work, then they're like, oh, so you don't know like anything about audio. So I think if you're gonna do a side hustle, you want to try different parts of film. So you could try like a student like broadcast team, or you could try like a sitcom type scene, but then you should try different roles within that.
What about getting on Upwork and Fiverr?
Yeah, I mean, I think offering your services anywhere you can, and then trying to build those different skills outside of it so you can present yourself as like, I know how to do all of these things, is really valuable.
What do you think is the difference between those kids? I mean, I've got a thought on this, but I want to know what you think is the difference between all these kids that think they can do video, or all the kids that are in class learning video, versus the kids that are going to get the big jobs.
I think it really is like, why are you doing video? Are you in video because it's fun? Are you in video because you want to have like a purpose behind it? And then also just showing like the curiosity and like wanting to learn more, and like putting yourself in situations to always learn more and like learn different skills within that video, and then presenting yourself as someone that knows all those skills and is willing to learn more and doesn't just know everything going into it.
And really a person, yes, and that wants to tell stories. The biggest fear are there's not enough jobs, but we hear that all the time. But the good news is that really to differentiate yourself, like what you said, side hustles, working really hard in an internship, doing your classwork and coming up with stuff that you shot, edited, and did the graphics for. I mean, that's what will easily differentiate you.
Yeah, and there's also video jobs where you wouldn't necessarily expect either. Like, you think of video jobs as like with Paramount Pictures or like Lionsgate, or like more like you said, like Hollywood. But I was just on like LinkedIn today, and PacSun, like the clothing company, wanted like a video person. And like, you might not necessarily think like people like that want video, but pretty much like everybody wants to tell, like you said, to tell their story, and they want like a video person to do that for them. So I think like not just limiting yourself to being like, I want to be in movies or I want to be in music videos, kind of like you already said, just being like, I want to tell stories. And I think like if you want to tell a story that aligns with you, it's even better.
We had a young man that worked here for 2.5 years, recently graduated, and he told me that, yes, I just got out of MSU recently, and I've got my first job. It's a great job, great benefits, good pay, but he said, I do know I'll probably only want to be there about 2 years, because I want to work towards higher end, go to a big production company, a company bigger than CR Marketing, bigger than, a local marketing firm. But his whole point is I've got 2 years to buy my own equipment, which I can because he's being paid very well in his current job. And then his side hustle will be start doing some bigger productions on his own so he can build up his resume to go after his next career move. So I thought that was really interesting that he would bring that up.
Yeah, and I think just like keeping yourself open to doing other things, and if somebody's like, and bringing it always up like, oh yeah, I do video, or like I'm really into video, and then somebody's like, hey, like I have a wedding, like do you want to do that? And then just like taking that opportunity to be like, yeah, and then like do a good job, like treat it like it's something that you would want to put on your portfolio, because you probably should put it on your portfolio so you can show that you can do a bunch of things like that.
Yeah, if you want to be in the movie business, you can shoot a wedding, you can shoot a corporate video with cinematic style. See, that's what kids don't quite get. It's okay to get one of those corporate jobs because you can apply cinematic style to that.
Yeah, definitely don't limit yourself to what opportunities you take in.
The people watching this right now are probably in Professor Crank's Michigan State University class. What's the one or two things that you would tell them, because they're probably juniors, possibly seniors. What would you tell them the 2 things that are most important to do?
I would say like always be open to learning, like learning new skills. Don't act like you know like everything that you're going into. There's a certain balance of being like, yeah, I can like teach that on my own, and I'll like just like pretend to know it so I can like learn it later. And then there's a part where you're like, no, actually I don't know this, and I need to like ask you questions to figure it out. I think like learning that balance of like when to ask questions and like when to learn it on your own is like a really good idea. And then also just going along with that, being like curious to learn things, and like always being adventurous and excited about what you can learn.
I'm really glad you took the time to do this.
Thank you.
I think what you talked about was really cool.
Sweet. Okay.